Welcome to the Veterans History Project. I'm United States Congresswoman Kathy Castor. Your congressional office has organized the Veterans History Project to capture oral histories of veterans from the Tampa Bay area and to ensure that we memorialize the stories of the greatest generation and beyond. These stories of honor, service, and sacrifice will be preserved in the Library of Congress for generations to come. If you know a veteran whose story should be told, please contact my office. Now join me in saluting another proud veteran from our Tampa Bay community, and to all veterans, thank you for your service and sacrifice.
Welcome. My name is Tery Sanchez, Congressional Assistant for U.S. Congresswoman Kathy Castor, District 11 for Florida. With me today is Steve Angari, intern at the district office. We are conducting this interview for the purpose of the Veterans History Project with the U.S. Library of Congress. I have the pleasure of having today veteran Denio Vila, one of 7 brothers that all serve with the Armed Forces of the United States. The interview is being conducted at the City of Tampa Television studio. Welcome, Mr. Denio Vila.
Thank you.
Tell me about your recollection, your early childhood, your brothers, sisters, parents.
Well, I was born in West Tampa, probably the first one that was born in Tampa General Hospital. I got 7 brothers and 7 sisters. We all were born and raised in the city of Tampa. We all went to the same school, A.L. Cuesta. In our early days, we all went to West Tampa Junior High, and we all went to Jefferson High School. All 7 of my brothers, including myself, is 7. We all served in the Armed Forces of the United States of America. Willie and Joe enlisted in the service in 1942, right after December 7th, 1941, that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Willie was 16 years old, Joe was 17 years old. They both served in the Pacific, Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal.
They both were injured too, right?
They were both injured. Joe was injured and was sent to Australia to get well. Willie kept on going. He served in all the islands of the Pacific. Willie got numerous medals, including the Navy Cross. This is my brother Willie. When he came back from basic training and he was sent overseas. And myself was...
How old were you when...
I was 5 years old.
5 years old.
5 years old when Willie came back. Then Joe also served over there. Then my brother Wilford, he joined... Well, he was drafted in 1943, 44, and he served in the Army. Well, he was a paratrooper, and he landed in Normandy. Well, Wilford is in a nursing home now, but I was going through his papers from the Army, and I found a letter from Harry S. Truman over here.
President Truman?
President Truman wrote my brother a letter. It says, "To you who answered the call of your country and served in its armed forces to bring about the total defeat of the enemy, I extend the heartfelt thanks of a grateful nation. As one of the nation's finest, you understood the most severe test one can be called upon to perform. Because of your demonstration, the fortitude, resourcefulness, and calm judgment necessary to carry out that test, we now look to you for leadership and example in further exalting our country in peace. Harry S. Truman."
What an honor. Very nice.
I also had Hector and Robert served in the Korean War, And Hector was fighting the Koreans. Robert was in battleship Iowa, firing the rockets, the bombs over into Korea. And myself, I served in the Army. I was drafted in 1960, and I was sent to Fort Jackson, South Carolina. From there, I went to Fort Benning, Georgia. From there, I went to, that was my basic training. Then I went to Fort Sam Houston and took medical training over there for 12 weeks. Became a medical specialist, ready for combat. I was sent to Fort Hood, where I spent the rest of my 2 years in the service. I was engaged in a STRAC outfit at the time, which is the 2nd Armored Division, that we were the most ready combat unit in the world at that time. This was called Hell on Wheels. It was a Cold War era, and what we were outfitted for combat to go any place in the world. We had 2 giant duffel bags of clothing, one to go to the coldest part of the world and one to go to the hottest part of the world. We used to get up in the morning on an alert, and we used to get on a combat truck, go to Gray Air Force Base, which was 20 miles away, stand on the runway until we were supposed to be picked up and taken to wherever we were ready to go, which we never went anywhere.
Tell me again about your experience in the Cold War.
And the tension that we had when I was based at Fort Hood, Texas, it was a lot of tension because we never knew where we were going, where we were going to be. We used to go out to the field maneuvers, and sometimes we were out there 28 days at a time. Our general, Major General Wright, was serving in tents just like the rest of the guys. I was a cabinet maker before I went into the service, so me and Spec 4 Groby were assigned to gut out a 1.5 combo truck and make it into what we call now an RV. So what we did is we got a gallon gasoline tank and put it on top of the cab for running water. We put a hot water heater in the accommodation that we built for him. We built a bed. We had drawers underneath the bed. We had a desk in the corner. We put linoleum on the floor, and we had lights in there for him to do whatever he had to do with the maneuvers. And we got this. I got this accommodation when.
You want to read it to us?
It says, Dear Specialist Vila, the purpose of this note is to extend to you an appreciation for the excellent carpentry which you and Specialist Groby accomplished in my van. The remodeling has resulted in a complete new look which is both smart in appearance and practical in use. Your fine carpentry work was a large asset in making this possible.
Who else served in the Hell on Wheels?
Hell on Wheels is in Fort Hood, Texas. General Patton's outfit back in World War II was Fort Hood, and this is why it was a tank armored division. After World War II, the Korean War, Elvis Presley was also in the same outfit. As he was getting out of the service back in 1958-59, I was going into Fort Hood in 1960.
I see.
So, you know, it's a real, and right now most of the troops that go to Iraq or Afghanistan, they come from Fort Hood. It's a real large base.
Anybody served with you from Tampa?
I served with Eddie Alvarez. He went into medical training with me in Fort Sam Houston, but I haven't seen Eddie in years. We're talking, what, 50 years
I
now.
see. Any commendations they gave you?
The only thing I got was a Good Conduct Medal of Honor. I got a certificate from Rumsfeld for the Cold War era for serving at the time between wars, between Korea and Vietnam, and a marksman. But my specialty was being a medic in a combat area. That's what I was trained for. When I got out of the service back in 1962, I served 2 years of Hector Reserve. I taught some classes at USAR, which is the United States Army Reserve, at Drew Field.
Drew Field.
Mm-hmm.
In Tampa.
In Tampa, and served 2 weeks.
Where's Drew Field now?
Drew Field's Tampa International Airport.
Tampa International Airport.
Yeah. And from then I served 2 weeks at Fort Benning at the hospital, and then I served 2 weeks the following year at Fort Stewart, Georgia, also in the hospital over there. And then 2 years inactive, and I finally got my discharge, my honorable discharge from the service.
When was that?
That was in 1966, October 1966. That's 6 years after I was drafted.
And tell me when you returned home.
I failed to mention that my brother Tony also, I didn't get to see Tony when I came back because he was on his way to Vietnam, and then he was in the Cuban crisis. So
Tony's the youngest one of the
Tony's the baby
brothers.
brother. So, you know, you had the Joe, Willie, Hector, Robert, myself, and Tony. That's all 7 of us.
But you returned home and he was already gone.
He's
Tony.
already gone
Yeah.
he enlisted in the Army.
And I'm sure your parents were relieved to have you.
Yes, my mother went through, when 3 of my brothers were in World War II at one time, she made a promise. And
I understand.
Yeah, I can do this.
I understand. Well, we thank you.
Appreciate it.
We really thank you and your brothers that have served with honor this country.
Thank you.
And your family and everybody else are very proud of the Vilas.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.